Hey. Today's assignment is to convert your salsa recipe, which I've given you on this screen right here. You're going to convert it from graphic version, which is the way you see it now, to traditional version, just like we did with the French toast. Um, you remember, graphic version is with all these boxes here. In traditional version, there's no boxes, there's no lines, it's all done with words. Now, let me take this opportunity to remind you that I'm giving you this recipe today because we are cooking this on Friday. We're not actually cooking it, we are preparing it on Friday. Um, so you have plenty of time to get your ingredients together so that you can make this on Friday when we make it in class. If you don't get your ingredients by Friday, then it's a weekend thing. But whatever, you've got plenty of time to see about getting these ingredients. So without further ado, let's convert from graphic format to traditional format. Oh, and by the way, we will be doing this throughout the year. So the sooner you get a grasp on converting from one format to another, the easier your life will be in my class. So, graphic format, as you remember, it's got these boxes and there's ingredients on the left. These are all ingredients. And over here on this side, this is all procedure. So we want to make sure on a traditional format that our ingredients are at the top. But first, before we do that, let's put in a title. So I'm just going to take this, copy it, and paste it. I highlight it. And the way I highlight it is I take my cursor and put it here. Click on my mouse pad and drag it across. And there it's highlighted. Now, if I push down Control C, I'll copy that. Put my cursor where I want it to end up. Control V as in Victor, we'll paste it. All right, so there's my title. This right here tells me everything's aligning with the center, which is okay for the title, but I want to left align with everything after the title. Let's make the title a little bit bigger. So again, click on it, highlight it, go up here, increase our font size to 24. Okay, let's go back. Somehow I messed with my justification or my alignment. All right, so first thing we need is our ingredients. Our ingredients are right here. There's no need to change around the way they're written. So what I'm going to do is copy one large tomato, Control C, put it here. I don't know why it keeps going to, okay. And Control V is paste. Hit Enter. 3 green onions. Highlight, Control C, Control V for Victor, paste. 1 chili pepper. Control copy, Control V paste. And I'm not going to do every one of these. I'm just going to put ingredient. Make sure you get them all though. Do a double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I spelled ingredient wrong. Okay, now we have all of our ingredients. It's time for procedure. 2 things I want to remind you of. First of all, I'm not looking for you to add some fancy words or reformat or change any part of the procedure. You just have to add one little bit that's been left out. And the reason it's been left out, I'll tell you in just a second. So our first step, we have our procedures, this whole section right here. Everything to the right of this single line is our procedure. So our first step is 1 right here. Let's go ahead and number that 1. but let's copy it first. So highlight it, Control C, come down here, enter some space, 1 period, space, Control V. That didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to. Got the whole table. So I hit Control Z to undo it. I just want the words, not the whole box. Control C. Let's see if I can get it right this time. All right, there we go. Chop and mix well in a medium bowl. Some people were trying to change the wording last week and say, chop each and every one of the ingredients and mix. That is to say, distribute evenly within a medium bowl. I'm not looking for that. You can use the same words that I've got, but there's something that's left out. If you look at this sentence, chop and mix well in a medium bowl, it's missing something. You want the reader to know exactly what you're talking about. You can't assume that the reader has this graphic recipe to look at. You can't assume that they've made it before. You can't assume that they know what they're doing other than knowing how to read a recipe. But that being said, you need to tell them what they're chopping and mixing well. So I'm going to put a comma here. What are we chopping and mixing well? Tomato, green onions, comma, chili pepper, and cilantro. Chop and mix well tomato, green onions, chili pepper, and cilantro in a medium bowl. Now the reader knows exactly what they're supposed to chop. How did you know what to put there? Well, let's look at this list of ingredients. Notice how these 4 lines, these 4 boxes line up with this line right here. That means this direction applies to these 4 items. This direction here applies mostly to this. That's why it's connected, but it's going to apply to this as well. We're going to add this into here. So our step 2 is Control C. I don't know why I got 2's there, 2 2's. Add to desired consistency. But again, I need to specify what it is we're adding. Tomato juice. Another error that a lot of people had last week was they wanted to restate the measurements. Please do not do that. That's not necessary. The idea is these things have already been measured, and we don't need to measure them again. So we're not going to say chop and mix 1 tomato, 3 green onions, 1 chili pepper, and cilantro to taste in a medium bowl. Once we have our measurements at the top here, we're done with them. There is 9 times out of 10, that's the way it works. 1 time out of 10, there will be a need to include measurements down here, but we'll talk about that later on. For now, once you have your measured ingredients here, you don't need to give measurements again. Okay, and then you're just going to do all of your steps, making sure that you specify what are we going to add to desired consistency? What are we going to add to taste? What are we going to add to taste? You have to specify that on the recipe. Okay, so I think you can take it from there. I don't want to do the whole thing for you because then why would I give you points for that? So that's salsa in traditional format.